WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. We are enjoying a nice stretch of weather out there, and this sunny weather continues. Big temperature fluctuations across the state today. It's kind of like that desert air, very almost like continental dry air that we're dealing with 30s to start off. In some spots, we had a few upper 30s, and this afternoon, temperatures reaching into the 80s. But let's get into the weather headlines, and we're going to have more sunshine coming back for our Wednesday. Yeah, we'll take it. And Thursday also, some nice weather on the way, but the rain comes back late on Friday. Next storm system, we're going to see a risk for some stormy weather, severe weather in fact, setting up in states west of Alabama as that system approaches our area. It will weaken, but could generate a little bit of rainfall. It will bring in or usher in some more cooler weather for the weekend. We'll see those overnight lows back into the 40s and even some upper 30s coming back. Here's a look at current temperatures right now, and lots of 70s, 80s on the map for this evening. Very comfortable conditions out there. You can see that we have the dry conditions and temperatures there around 66 at 9 o'clock. Overnight lows out there in the upper 40s and low 50s, so not quite as cold tomorrow morning. Wind southeast on the light side. Tomorrow, beautiful sunshine. Afternoon temperatures back into the 80s. It has been an incredible week out there, and that lovely sunny weather is going to continue for tomorrow. But as we look ahead, that next chance of rain comes back Friday night and into Saturday, as I talked about. May have a storm here, but again, not expecting any severe weather. But if you're still getting the garden ready, maybe breaking the ground up a little bit, working on that flower bed, and still need to get out there, do some more work, no problems here. Just note Saturday up through about lunchtime, there could be some wet weather around, but Friday night and into Saturday is that next chance of rain. Temperature-wise, not seeing freezing conditions. Those overnight lows in the upper 30s and low 40s. We'll watch early Sunday and Monday. This is that typical late April into May kind of situation where we do tend to have a few isolated spots, those colder valleys where we could get close to the frost point. We'll watch that, but not expecting any significant impacts there for our weekend. But coming up, we'll take a closer look at that system. I'll show you some of the global data, the forecast guidance on the timing for that system there for Friday. Also coming up, we've got the updated beach forecast. We're remembering the tornado that happened on this day in the Utah area, looking back to that Greene County system and how things have progressed since then. Snow, that system producing the lake effect snow that we talked about yesterday, still out there impacting places like Wisconsin. We'll show you some of the views and also more on that next chance of rain as we continue right here. You are watching Weather Extra.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
Some people may think you're overreacting. Some may ask, is there a storm coming? That's okay, because knowing the first alert has helped you beat the rush. Being prepared puts you in control and changes the what if to you're okay. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
If you have plans for this weekend, we have a first alert for a wintry mix.
When you need to know next week, tomorrow, or even right now, the WBRC First Alert Weather Team is always on your side, whenever and wherever you need us. This is why we First Alert.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. It's only April, but hey, summer is just a couple of months away, and I know a lot of you got a jump start on those beach vacations with spring break last month. We check in now with meteorologists Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson for a look at what's going on down by the coast.
Mickey,
hey,
you know, the weather's really nice. You know what would be even better?
at the beach.
At the beach.
Yeah, me love me some beach. And the weather is cooperating down there as well. In fact, looks like it's a little cooler at the beach than it is here at home.
Yeah, I got that little bit of an easterly, southeasterly wind, and you know, the water's still kind of cool.
It is a bit nippy.
So that's helping, that little sea breeze, you could say, is keeping those temperatures a little bit cooler down there than here locally.
Yeah,
but
about 10 degrees cooler.
I would not complain about sunshine and 74, 75 degrees.
I wouldn't either.
So.
And the older you get, you like it cooler anyway.
There you
I
go.
found that to be true.
But you know, the sun, you know, that's an important thing to talk about, because of course it's going to make you warmer, but it could burn you.
Yeah, it could. You know, almost any time you go to the beach, you really need to pay attention to the sun's rays, because that'll make you nice and crispy. We're both kind of fair complected, so that would eat us up without some kind of sunscreen or a shirt or something.
That's right. So yeah, the UV index 9 to 10 going through Friday, so definitely want to apply burn time about 15 to 30 minutes if exposed. So just want to give you that first alert about that.
Sometimes I wear a hat, I still get it on my face. It's just
this past weekend, even here, I had sunscreen on and my arms are burned. So
the sun reflecting off the sand will get you.
That will get you.
We do have a moderate rip current threat. That's almost typical for almost any time of the year. You're going to have at least a moderate threat. Gulf water temperature now at 70 degrees. I prefer it to be a little bit warmer than that.
Yeah, you want to be around 80 or so. But, you know, funny story, or not really funny, but an interesting story is that if you go to the Weather Service, they're going to say it's a low risk. But if you go to Orange Beach, they're going to have a yellow flag regardless.
They almost always
So
have.
I just put that yellow flag because if you are going down there and you see it, yeah, it's just their way of saying just use caution if you have to be out in the water. So here's the forecast for the next several days. Lots of sunshine Wednesday, maybe a passing cloud here or there, but Thursday, mid-70s looking nice.
Me like it. A little bit more cloud cover. That same system that's bringing us some clouds on Friday and chance of rain on Saturday, going to move in down there as well. And that's going to drop those temperatures with a chance of rain for Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. A little cooler.
Yeah, but hopefully that rain will move out by Saturday afternoon. So even though it might be a little bit on the cool side, it shouldn't be too bad. We're looking at rainfall about maybe a quarter of an inch to a half of an inch at best. But as you can see with that 7-day forecast, looking really nice for several days. But as you were saying, look at those cooler temperatures going into next week.
I certainly wouldn't cancel any trips based on that chance of rain Friday night into Saturday, because it dries out, I think, Saturday afternoon into Sunday. It is going to be cooler, though. A little bit nippy at the beach with highs in the 60s Sunday going into Tuesday of next week.
That's right. And of course, wherever you go, whether it's the beach, the mountains, somewhere else, weather on the go, download that app. It's free.
Can you use it if you're staying?
Sure.
Okay, because that's confusing, weather on the go and you're staying put. So, but yeah, just use that. Have a
Well, let's not get in the logistics there, obviously. Anyway, it has been a year since tornadoes hit Greene County, Alabama, and now we're seeing how a community in Utah has changed since those severe storms. The Branch Heights subdivision of Utah took a direct hit from that tornado in April of 2022. Today, most of the damaged homes have been repaired. Some of those damaged beyond repair are being rebuilt. The executive director of the Housing Authority admits making repairs has been a slow process. We spoke to neighbors who had damage from the storm.
It's a great improvement from what it was, and I'm thankful that the Housing Authority has started, you know, doing what they necessarily needed to do for this community.
It's a challenging, but you know you have to be patient. You just got to wait on God to do things for you. That's it. You can't do nothing about nothing. It takes time and effort.
At the end of April, Branch Heights will host a thank you party for donors who gave food supplies and other donations to tornado victims. Outside of severe weather, though the Midwest is no stranger to snow, Wisconsin got an unusual taste of a winter wonderland in the middle of April recently. Check out this report.
It's Wisconsin. you know, it's kind of normal, but it is what it is, I guess.
Nearly 20 inches of snow in the middle of April.
We can't forget that last week was spring sports and it was 90 degrees and people went to baseball on Friday night wearing shorts and got sunburned. And now we have almost 18 inches of snow outside.
School District of Black River Falls Superintendent Shelley Severson calling a snow day in April for what might be her first time.
I do not remember an April snow day. I know there have been times where it is threatened, where we've had some snow showers. I do not remember this much snow this late in the year.
Road conditions in Jackson County have been slick, with the Wisconsin State Patrol saying in the last 24 hours they've assisted close to 40 runoffs. One community member saying their drive this morning was slippery.
We actually came home from Wisconsin Dells this morning, so it seemed like the line was about Warren's, and that's kind of where the heavy snow went, but it was a mess driving that way too.
When there's any snowy weather, Superintendent Severson says the most important thing is checking road conditions for the buses.
Our biggest priority is, can the buses travel, right? I believe very strongly that parents always have the choice to keep their child home if they are worried about the individual driving conditions, but our primary responsibility is the buses.
Tomorrow's school chances still up in the air.
There's a lot of trees down right now, and again, a lot of people without power. So we're going to have to see how Mother Nature goes and what our crews are able to handle.
All the while embracing the weather, because at the end of the day, there's no place like home.
Man, we love a good pun. Coming up next, I think you'll love this weather over the next couple of days at least. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt shows us that super 7-day forecast. And I'll take it beyond the 7-day to let you know if spring's going to be winning out or we have some more cool downs in the forecast. We'll be right back.
Does your bathtub look like this? Are you constantly cleaning your shower, but the stains and discoloration just won't go away? Or maybe you're just hoping to freshen up your bathroom with something new and modern. If this is you, you may be planning on attending one of the local home shows. Well, stay tuned. Today I'm joined by Kirsten with a special announcement that's going to make the whole project easier and more affordable. Kirsten.
So Joe, we know that people are busier than ever right now. The last thing they want to do is spend hours of time on the weekend fighting traffic and all the long lines at the home shows. Well, to save time, folks should give us a call right now and get this limited time offer. We're taking 20% off all shower and bath projects, and we're offering some amazing financing. It's 12 months of no payments and no interest. That means you don't need to pay a penny on your project until an entire year after your installation is complete.
So you're saying if I start my project now, I don't have to put any money down, I get 20% off the entire project, and you're offering no payments, no interest financing for a full year. That's pretty incredible.
It really is. We understand that most people have a long list of renovations that they want to do around the house, so we're making it easier than ever to knock out that shower project right now.
That's fantastic. Well, Kirsten, how else are you making this whole project easy?
So Joe, people's biggest fear when doing a project like this is picking out something they're not going to be happy with. Well, we eliminate that fear by bringing the home show to you. When you give us a call, we'll send one of our shower and bath experts out for a free in-home design consultation. They'll bring an iPad and a sample kit to let you design the shower or bath of your dreams. Before the appointment is over, you'll see what the new shower will look like, eliminating all of the guesswork out of the project.
Kirsten, thanks. Folks, call the number on your screen right now to speak with a West Shore Home representative and to receive this limited time offer. Call in now to get 20% off your shower or bath project. Plus, they're doing 12 months of no payments and no interest financing. That means you don't need to make your first payment until 12 months after your installation is complete. Call West Shore Home now.
All right, welcome back to Weather Extra. Wes Wyatt here with a look at some nice temperatures out there. It was warm today, highs back in the 80s in a lot of spots, but this evening it's going to feel nice and comfy with it being kind of dry out there. Those temperatures will drop off fairly quickly. There's another view there. We've had some rain, couple states back to the west over parts of Louisiana, seeing a few showers. All that's going to stay west of us. In the morning, we still could have some 40s here. Places like Ashland, Talladega, see Jasper and Fayette there, even close around Demopolis there, not too far from 49. So chilly to start the day, but a quick warm up for our Wednesday. Here's what it looks like. We'll step through those times. There's 8 a.m. You can see Yeah, already showing up to 58 degrees there on average. So, yeah, as soon as we bottom out, quick rebound in those temperatures. And then by lunchtime and in the afternoon, we'll see a lot of 80s on the map. And then we get into 7 p.m. in the evening, 79 degrees, and the sky staying mostly clear. Maybe a few high clouds moving in, a light wind out of the southeast. But looking at some of those forecast highs for the day, a good chance we get to 85, places like Tuscaloosa. We'll be close here around Jasper, down in towards Greensboro tomorrow. Checking out central areas, you can see some of those mid-80s again, Asheville, back towards Brent and Bibb County. Bluntsville, low 80s, even Jacksonville, Talladega, Sylacauga. So big warm up. We'll probably have to crank up the AC there for tomorrow afternoon. It's going to get a little toasty across the area. But we stay dry Thursday, most of Friday. Friday night, the next chance for wet weather moves in, and not expecting any severe weather for our area. To the west, different story. There's going to be another risk. Folks around Arkansas, once again, will have a risk for some strong to severe storms, but that system weakens as it moves in here Friday night. European guidance is a little bit faster, shows some of this coming in by the early evening. GFS, which that's what we're looking at here, the American model, is keeping a lot of this moving in late at night, but the models are in general agreement on Friday night, Saturday morning. That really hasn't changed here. So if you have plans Saturday, it looks like the morning, early morning, that's when we had the main impact. Some improvements going into the afternoon. Not seeing a severe risk out of this, although a rumble of thunder certainly not out of the question. But as far as the afternoon on Saturday, even though we get the rainfall out of here, we get a little bit of sunshine that's going to help with those comfort levels, but it is going to be noticeably colder going into early Sunday morning. Right now for the Magnolia Festival, looks like we'll be in pretty good shape for Friday in Gardendale. Really don't see that rain getting in here until late Friday night for Jefferson County. But Magnolia Festival, we got 8A on Saturday. We've got Talladega on Sunday. You name it, a lot happening this weekend. And those temperatures, you can see they're taking a bit of a tumble at night, kind of cool. But out there at the Talladega Superspeedway on Sunday with that sunshine, that's certainly going to help with those comfort levels as well. Overall, not a bad day. At least it won't be extremely hot, extremely humid. It's going to feel nice out there for the big race, the Geico 500, that you can watch right here on WBRC Fox 6 on Sunday. So let's go beyond the 7-day forecast. Lauren, you know, I put it out there over the weekend. I posted on my Facebook page. I said, you know what? We don't see freezing temperatures until May, and then yesterday the models roll in, and then we see 37 showing up for Monday morning, but it still looks like we're going to stay above freezing.
I don't think we're going to be having major concerns in terms of a hard freeze or anything of that matter. You could maybe see some patchy frost areas north, but that trend is looking like 6 to 10 days from now. Generally, a good portion of the U.S., at least the eastern 2/3 of the country, could be seeing below average temperatures. And yes, that does include us here at home in Sweet Home, Alabama. So what could that translate to? Well, as we look ahead to next week, highs potentially only in the 60s. For perspective, this time of the year, our high temperatures are in the mid-70s, so we could be well below average in some spots. We could see a brief warm up going into next weekend before we head into May. Another cool down with highs in the 50s. Now, granted, this is one model run, and this is going to change. The forecast can and will change as it always does, but we're just giving you an idea of the trends, the patterns we're seeing beyond the 7-day. And if we begin to see those trends carrying through over the next several days, then there may be another cool down to start us off in May. But as far as those low temperatures, because that's when we want to know, could there be anything in the way of frost? Well, we mentioned this weekend, we're talking Sunday, Monday morning, we could get temperatures down into the 30s. I actually saw a picture on our First Alert weather app, I think up in Bremen, Alabama. I'll have to double check, but it looked like there was a little frost this morning. So again, patchy frost possible in some of those cooler spots, higher elevations. Than when that wind becomes a little lighter, it makes it easier for that frost to develop. But most of us should not have any issues. Now, generally, even though we could see below average temperatures, what does that mean in terms of rainfall? Well, it does look like 6 to 10 days from now, we would also be favoring a pattern that would support above average precipitation here in central Alabama. So a more active pattern. That doesn't necessarily mean it would be severe weather day after day, but we could be seeing some rain and storms in the forecast. So here we are next Tuesday, showing several disturbances moving through next week. That would be bringing us some rain potentially Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And then as we keep this active pattern in place, showing another disturbance bringing rain to the Gulf Coast next Thursday, the 27th, potentially potentially still some showers nearby on the 28th, and then we get into the last weekend of April, April 29th. Here's that Saturday, showing the potential for rain and storms coming in and potentially lingering through the last day of April on the 30th into that Sunday morning, and possibly still seeing some disturbances moving through that active pattern in place that could keep us wet for the first day of May. So certainly a lot to watch here. Regardless, it looks like we could certainly be bringing in some April showers, spring May flowers. Yes, so I think we can see that being the trend here as we head into May. Meanwhile, on the other side of the globe, Japan is set to dump 1.2 million tons of wastewater into the Pacific Ocean that was contaminated in the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster in 2011. The water has now been treated, and Japan's prime minister says it's safe to release. CNN's Mark Stewart got rare access to the plant ahead of the dump and talked to a fisherman who is condemning the decision.
It's just after 9 in the morning. The crew of this ship is back in port at the Onahama fishing village in Fukushima, Japan. Kinzaburo Shiga is a third-generation fisherman starting at elementary school, going on trips with his father. He told me he's happy on the boat, but he faces challenges. His catch is tested for radiation. That's because the port is around 40 miles from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. In 2011, there was a meltdown here after a catastrophic earthquake and tsunami. For 6 years he couldn't fish, told to stay off the water. When he heard he couldn't fish, he was sad, disappointed the ocean was off limits.
12 years later, fishermen face yet another challenge. Treated wastewater that accumulated inside the plant will soon be released into the ocean, a threat to their reputation and way of life.
He says the decision made his blood boil. He wonders why the government made the decision without the consent of the fishermen. At the time, the Prime Minister said it had to be done to decommission the plant. We wanted to see the plant for ourselves, and we were allowed to after agreeing to a strict safety protocol.
This is as close as we can get to reactors 1 through 4. The cleanup work here will take at least 20 more years.
We also saw a lab where fish are tested, and lots of construction on the water treatment facility.
Let me show you the tanks behind me, row after row, enough to fill about 500 Olympic swimming pools. The treated water will be let go gradually through a tunnel that will take it offshore and then eventually into the ocean.
According to the plant's operator, Tokyo Electric Power Company, the water has been treated by taking out most of the radioactive particles. It's then diluted with seawater, taking it to a level much lower than the World Health Organization's clean drinking water standard. An official from the utility told us he recognizes there's distrust because of the past, but they're listening to concerns. He knows not everyone will accept their plan, but points out the support they're getting from third parties, such as the International Atomic Energy Agency. Still, neighboring countries have expressed concern.
Is there a public health risk by releasing this water?
Yes, there is a public health risk. It's relatively low, but the risk exists. I think that they should store the water so that it decays naturally.
While other options were considered, this was seen as the best plan as tanks near capacity. Japan's Pacific coast has been a point of pride and promise for fishermen like Kinzaburo. He says he doesn't know what will happen, but hopes leaders won't work against the fishermen. The water release is expected to begin by this summer, bringing with it more years of anxiety and uncertainty. Mark Stewart, CNN, Fukushima, Japan.
Well, though no nuclear wastewater here in America, we do have an area that caught some snow and has been dealing with some flooding. We'll take a look at that coming right back on Weather Extra.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go.
With a storm like
She
this,
says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
you need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
The first alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Thousands of sandbags were filled in place in Walsh County, North Dakota, in hopes of saving homes from fast rising floodwaters. Officials suspect several ice jams are to blame for the flooding. As Bailey Hurley reports, residents say they haven't seen flooding like this in nearly 20 years.
Some pumps are working overtime for many in Minto, including Jody Oseski, who says there wasn't any water in her backyard when she went to sleep Sunday night.
I never experienced this before.
A neighbor came knocking on her door around 2 a.m. Monday, and Oseski says she's been fighting these floodwaters ever since.
And I looked outside and it's like, wow, where did this water come from?
Official reports from the National Weather Service show at 10 p.m. Sunday, the Forest River was at minor flood stage at 6 feet. 4 hours later, the water had risen to 8 feet and hit 9.25 feet by 8 a.m. Monday.
That water's moving pretty quick. This is the worst I've seen it here. There was a lot of ice jams down the road, was forcing that water back.
Chief Wilson says sandbagging started around 7 Sunday night and says in just a few hours, around 5,000 sandbags were already filled and placed in both Minto and Forest River.
It's just amazing how many people come together at this time.
While the water is expected to go back down by late Tuesday morning, those in the community say they're prepared to help their neighbors out again should the spring melt bring more trouble their way. Because that's just what you do.
Small town, everybody helps everybody. Some of those people by the river we don't even know, but that's what we do. We just help each other out.
The Forest River hasn't been this high since 2004, but the water hasn't reached the level of Minto's all-time record flood, which was back in 1950. So let's get one final look at that 7-day forecast. Hey, tomorrow, Thursday, chef's kiss, going to be really nice. We're not going to be quite as cool Wednesday and Thursday morning. Temperatures in the 50s, but hey, it's the afternoon when we really begin to crank up the heat with above average temperatures. Highs potentially into the mid 80s under a mostly sunny sky. But by Friday into Saturday, we're tracking our next big thing. A cold front coming through. It's going to be bringing some rain and rumbles of thunder, mainly Friday later in the day and early Saturday morning before it turns cooler for the weekend. We're talking 30s possible by Sunday morning and then still looking below average but dry going into the next week. But check in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt for an update on this tonight on First at 9. And you can join us here on Weather Extra every weeknight at 6:30 on your favorite streaming platform. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Tuesday.